Hey everybody, welcome back to more Duke Nukem 3D Attrition. I'm still Niggeroth. I have Deceitful Penguin here with me.
Howdy.
Howdy. We are in the 5th mission, the second to last mission to be more precise, in the first episode of Duke Nukem 3D. It's called Launch Facility. Not sure why they need so much toxic waste at a launch facility, or maybe they're launching it into space. Who knows?
You know, when you're making lunch, there's a lot of waste. I remember making sandwiches, and like, if you're cutting the crust, there's a lot of stuff that goes to waste.
Yeah, well, I never really understood kids' problem. I never had a problem with crust. I'd always eat it.
Yeah, me too, but no, I don't know.
Because then, I mean, people eat toast, and that's basically the same thing. It's kind of harder portions of the bread, but...
Actually, when the starch is potable, no, let's do this.
Bread making, the cornerstone of the LP. But
the mechanics of frying bread.
Now, some of you may not be familiar with yeast, but if you check your girlfriend, you'll find some. But yeah, this particular level is kind of filler. It's I don't know. It doesn't really go along with. Well, I guess it continues on with the toxic waste themes of the previous level, but you know, we've gone from crashing into a cityscape to being in prison to being in a submarine escaping from prison to being in a toxic waste dump to now apparently this is a facility to fire toxic waste into space, which what do you think the next level is going to be? Since you haven't actually played this.
The next one, you fire the rocket into space, so obviously you go to the home base of the aliens where they launched the rocket from, or something.
Well, you'll see. We're not actually going to be helping launch the rocket into space, because I can only assume that it's actually meant to be a trap by the aliens if they're attempting to launch a toxic waste-filled rocket. I assume it's going to be more of a missile and less of a means to get the toxic waste out of the Earth's general area.
Well, you can't dump it into space, because then you can't make portals into the sea and sell the seawater to, you know, dumb aliens that don't realize that water is probably the most common single material in the universe.
Is it?
It is. Scientists recently discovered this.
That water is pretty much everywhere?
Yep, and people like these creation scientists said this proved that God made everything real, because the Bible starts with first there was water. So, logically speaking...
Well, where would the water go?
I honestly don't know.
I mean, if you just drop water into a void, it would just disappear into the nothing.
You know, I'm not God. I realize that I'm great, but I'm not a god.
Well, you
so
are.
I can't.
You are vengeful and prone to mood swings.
Bring it on.
And I did ask this guy to want to sacrifice his child to me, but that was, you know, a joke. I didn't really expect him to do it.
Yeah. Well, we all know that it was you're full of metaphors and parabolas. You know, arcs on an XY axis. But hey, I actually threw a pipe bomb well.
It's beautiful.
It only took a much larger slit.
I'm the king of the world. Now I imagine Leonardo DiCaprio blowing up the Titanic, because it's full of dirty capitalists.
Well, obviously there was originally a very Marxist undertone there with the peasant uprising in the lower bowels of the ship.
Yeah, it was a stern critique of the ruling capitalist classes and the folly of laissez-faire capitalism. Also, it really gets me that you never kill them.
They won't survive. And really, the overall... It's a bit confusing engineering because that keycard we just used is what spawns the button down here to actually launch the spaceship in the first place. Except we, being Duke and not rocket engineers, or rocket scientists I should say, we're not actually successful in launching the rocket at all. So
This despite the mighty boot being the signature of all mechanically wise men, Duke doesn't really know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, it's all bells and whistles and smoke and mirrors and boots.
Yeah, I know Isaac Clarke is not.
He's not even an Isaac Asimov, who's faking it. I mean, really, he wasn't even a scientist.
He was just Russian, I think.
He was just a Russian. I'm pretty sure he had a beard. I mean, back in the early 1900s, Russians with beards were either Rasputin or incredibly smart. So
I must admit that my knowledge of Russian history extends to Lenin, Stalin, and the Great Patriotic War.
yeah. Well, I mean, the early 1900s, and I don't know what killed me there, but I'm back alive. So, yeah, I don't know if that's a bug or what, but I think he sucked me into a pillar and I got crushed into it, but instead of just remaining dead, the death rage kind of kicked in and brought me back to life, which, you know, is good and everything, because I didn't want to restart the fucking level, but still a bit weird.
Well, you don't look a gift reincarnation in the mouth, like the Hindus say.
Yeah, they say a lot of things. I don't really understand them that well.
Yeah, especially with that heavy accent sometimes, you know.
That heavy British accent.
Yeah, I mean, I met some guy at a pub this one time and he was from India and he was just like, I wasn't sure if he was speaking English or not.
Which was even harder for you because you're Icelandic.
Yeah, turns out he was actually very drunk and was speaking Hindi, so, yeah.
That seems like a very confusing story, and it makes me afraid of ethnic people. But anyway, that is the end of the level. We'll see you next time for the final episode of the first mission pack for Duke Nukem 3D.
Gonna rip him a new one.